What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's a little bit of a mess in this room. If you're following the videos I've been doing the building the diorama, which is right here next to me, and then I'm clearing the windows and putting this film, so it's like tinted windows in here. So it's kind of a mess in here. But today we're going to be reviewing the Asmus Toys King Theoden. I know I've had this for so long. It's March 4th today, and I've had it since October 20 something, or October 9th or something like that. Had it for a long time and haven't reviewed it, but today we're finally going to review it. Alright, so stay tuned. It's going to be great. Alrighty guys, so here is the box. This thing is awesome. It's my first Lord of the Rings 6-scale figure by Asmus Toys. Now I already have a Luke Skywalker by Sideshow. It's the deluxe version, but I mean Lord of the Rings is my bread and butter, and this thing is awesome. I got this for a really good deal at tnsfigures.com. I'll put the link in the description. $170 shipped with taxes, with shipping, all that stuff. It was a great deal. Otherwise, you can find it for $190, $200 around there. That was the MSRP price. And of course, just showing off the box real quick, you can see this is all raised. Really cool. I like the detail. Just looks awesome. King Theoden right there. I believe this is a shot from Return of the King, I believe. Yeah. And then King Theoden right there, 1/6 scale collectible action figure. All the notices and thank you for choosing Asmus Collectibles, all that kind of stuff. King Theoden again. Top of the box, nothing. Bottom of the box, just some more warnings and things like that. And I really like the red, kind of symbolizing two towers. If you guys have the extended editions of The Lord of the Rings, the DVD copies, you'll know the red usually symbolizes the two towers, just like if you collected the Toy Biz figures as well, usually symbolizes the two towers. When you open up the box, you can see it's just black background right there. Nothing special. And then we have Theoden himself in the packaging. Right off the bat, you can see he comes with his helmet. Comes with 4 different hands, 2 pegs, his sword. His sheath is separate, but I've already opened this. Like I said, I had it since October, so I didn't want to untie the sheath. But he has his sheath and scabbard, whatever you want to call him, on him with a belt. He has his shield here, and then of course Theoden himself. And then I did want to mention he does come with a set of instructions. For the most part, all Asmus figures come with instructions. Specifically this one, you can see it says Lord of the Rings instruction sheet. Biggest thing is because his head, you can take off his hair and put his helmet on, how to attach the belt, which honestly it's more self-explanatory or more common sense than the instructions, but whatever. His hands, how to put them on, and then also how to put the sword in its sheath and do not bend the sword. It is die-cast metal, it can bend. Mine has bent when someone was improperly using it, trying to put it in his hand, it bent, but I was able to put it back into shape. The shield comes out just like this. My one gripe with the shield is that he never uses it in the movies. So I don't know why they included it. I mean, the detail is amazing. The only time he has his shield is on his horse in the Return of the King. My thing is I'm going to get Armour soon, and I'm going to have Armour hold this shield. So that's my thinking when I get Armour to use this shield. Because I had him displayed up for a while with his shield, but I'm just like, never really used it. And me, I'm always about movie accuracy, so. Now this being my first Asmus figure, my first Lord of the Rings figure, I'm super hyped with it, and this thing is awesome. But that's not to say it's not without its defects or its imperfections, because everything will have its imperfections, and we'll get into that a little bit. Here is the helmet. Just more great detailing. It is phenomenal how well they did this. The detailing is amazing. You can see Let's see if you guys can see that a little bit. You can see there's some black foam in there, and that's for allowing it to be a little bit easier to put on his head. Mine was a little bit loose in here. The glue didn't perfectly adhere, so it kind of moves around. I don't know if that's a thing for all these figures. Also, the horse, kind of the crest up here, is a little bit bent. I kind of put it back into shape, but it is a little bit crooked. Now, one gripe I do have about the hands is that, not like Hot Toys or Sideshow, they all come with their individual pegs for each hand. This one only comes with 2 extra pegs, not including the pegs that are already on the figure. I understand it's a small price point, but I wish that they would have included pegs for each one. But you do have a right hand closed fist, a left-handed closed fist, then you have a right hand for gripping something, and they're pretty malleable. You can open them up pretty well, as you can see there. And then he comes with a left-hand grip. He is left-handed in the films. Bernard Hill is left-handed, so that's why he's left-handed. Then this one's a little bit squished down to fit it inside the packaging, but it's more of like this kind of hand, an open hand. And you'll see that on the actual figure. I do have his right hand open like that. Then the sword that we have here, this is why I love Asmus collectibles. All of their weapons are all die cast, and there's just really great weight to them. I have the Maltasar and Faramir, and the Faramir sword is huge. And I love it. The one thing about die-cast swords is that because it's die-cast and the metal that they use, it's a little bit dark. You know, a blade isn't going to be this dark. I mean, it looks okay in the shot, but it's really kind of like almost a charcoal black, charcoal gray kind of color, instead of being like a silver kind of alloy metal. But it's still really cool. They are a little bit sharp on the tip, so just be careful. But you can see the detailing is just so amazing that they do this on this. And then we'll get Theoden out here, put him aside real quick. And then of course you do get your stand for the figure. Pretty common stands universally for Asmus. It's Lord of the Rings, you can see right there. You have your crotch grabber, Straight Up Patrol calls it. You lift it up like that, and then the bottom are hollow. Again, it cuts cost, but it makes it feel cheap. Not the biggest deal. And then we have Theoden himself. Alrighty, so here we have Theoden. I'm going to start from the bottom right here. As you can see, I mean, again, the detailing is amazing. The armor, it just blew me away with this guy. So you can see with his boots here and the greaves here. You can open up those a little bit. The detailing is amazing. How they did this is just so cool. Asmus Toys is a third-party company. Just look at the detailing on that. It's just done so magnificently well. Every little detail is just so perfect. Now, a lot of people question, you know, someone like Asmus Toys or 3A and 3.0, all those companies. Like, are they really, you know, competitive to Hot Toys? I say yes and no. There's definitely parts of it that you get what you're paying for. And this made by Hot Toys, it probably would have been, I don't know, $350 or something. Maybe $250. Definitely the cloth. The cloth is really nice. It's not going to be a Hot Toys quality, but it's a nice kind of suede material. It is nice, but it's not exact Hot Toys. But for me, I'm not that picky, especially because this is Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings. It's just done really well. You kind of have his scale armor. I don't want to say skirt. It's technically like a cuirass. Is what it's called, kind of what it is. But again, it's just done really well. Here, let me lift up his arm a little bit. You can see his scabbard here, or sheath, however you want to call it. Done really well. Not so much, not crazy detailing, but it's just really simple, very light. And it is, when you have the sword out, it is definitely loose because there's no weight in it. But once you put the sword in, like so. And a lot of times I really like just having him with the sword in its sheath because it just looks so cool. It's just so commanding, has such a cool presence just like that. Just him kind of just chilling with it there. And then seeing some more detailing in the belt and the lower parts, the middle parts of his armor. Again, done so well. The horse imagery in the Rohirrim and the Rohan country is just so cool. That's probably why I love Rohan so much. The belt detailing, there's a lot of Celtic imagery or symbolism and a lot of relation to the Celtic and Viking cultures, and so that's why you kind of see very similar things. A lot of inner works, a lot of knotted line work and things like that, so it's really cool. And you can see I have the left gripping hand on him for his sword, then his gauntlets here. Good. Just done so well. The detailing is just great. They are a little loose, so when you change out the hands you got to be careful because they can slip off a little bit, and I don't know how hard it would be to get them back over the fabric, so just be careful of that. Again, and this is the open hand I mentioned before, kind of him almost pointing or however you want him to look, or you can even have him kind of like this, like come here. Like that. That's a pretty cool pose. Like, is this all you conjure, Saruman? Like how he says in Two Towers. That's a pretty sick pose, honestly. It might be the thumbnail. I don't know. That's a pretty cool pose. I haven't had him like that, but he looks cool like that. Going up on the back really quickly before we go into the main part, the head and the chest. Here's the back. I never even knew he had this symbol on the back of his chest piece. Really cool. It's the two horses touching heads like that. Very, very common image you see in the Rohirrim. And then you can kind of see the backs of his shoulder pieces right here and his arms. I did compare this to the movie, and I'll talk about it. It's more you can see it in the front, but the shoulder pieces are a little off, but we'll get into that. Alrighty, and so now we have the main part of the figure. And so, again, that's kind of the pose we had, like this. I had it a little bit lower, so maybe that'd probably be the more ideal. If you want to focus on his hand, that's actually really cool. And again, one gripe with the armor, not being inaccurate, but it's just that with the shoulders and the armor, he can't really raise his arms too high. I've got him pretty high. Like, let's see how high I can get him. Like, this is flexing it a lot. Like, when I first got it, you are not able to do this. Like, it takes a lot of time for him to be able to do this because of the plastic, or the rubber, I should say, in the shoulder pieces. It does take a lot. So just be mindful of that. Be careful. You're not going to rip anything, but just be careful. Now, what I was going to mention with the shoulder pieces here is right here. So this is not exactly accurate. I'll see if I can find a picture to compare. But when you get to these parts right here, there's a little bit more coverage and separation, I believe, with the shoulders right here, and so it comes down a little bit more, and they're more drastic shaped. This is more kind of like a gentle curve with a gentle point right here, but they're more dramatic in the films. Not a big gripe, it's just something I noticed, something that they can maybe work on, or whatever the case may be, but just something to point out. But overall, I mean, it's not a big complaint. It's a beautiful figure. Now, focusing on his chest piece, again, we want to just talk about that because it's the biggest piece of his armor, and it's the most intricate, and it's just beautiful, guys. Look at this. It's just so well done. Again, it is a rubber material, and it's just so crisp. Look at the detail, the lines, and you kind of have, I don't want to call it ab work, but you have the different layers here with the flower, the Rohirrim flower. And it's escaping me the name of it right now, but it's like Fida Luna, something like that. But it's the white flower that he's looking at when he buries Theodred in the films. And then again, the horses meeting each other again, and then you have the kind of crest with the leaves or sun rays coming out at the sides right there. But just so beautiful. Going over in more detail with his shoulders here. It's again just the detailing does not stop. It is just so phenomenal. And then even like, it might be hard to see because it's so tiny, but even inside like the little borders and the lines around it, you can see there's detailing there. It's just, they didn't stop. They just did such amazing work with this figure. And not to mention, just look at that head sculpt. It looks like Bernard Hale. It's beautiful. And as we saw, you can take off his hair. A lot of people's complaint was that you can see there's that seam that kind of goes above his head. I mean, at first it was annoying, but you kind of got to get over it. If you want to take him off, he just has a magnet. As you can see right there, he's a magnet there. And he has one at the top of his head. If we can get it in focus, there you go. And that's how the hair stays intact. And then the helmet doesn't have a magnet, so you can see. But you just put it on like this. Another thing with the helmet, I've seen a lot of people's reviews that it seemed to be a problem that his helmet wouldn't go down all the way. If you look in the image on the box alone, look at how far it comes down his face. Like it's already almost at the bottom of his beard. Focus. There you go. It's almost at the bottom of his beard. Where a lot of people's, theirs was like all the way up here. And like that is terrible. But I was able to kind of squish it down a little bit more, get it more movie accurate. And then if you see a picture of him, you know, front facing, it's a lot closer to, like the helmet comes like this. It's really stiff on his face, or close up on his face, tight to his face. So that's another thing that I try to work on. Holding it like this, you can heat it as well. That's another thing, but just to make it a little bit better. But how cool does he look with that helmet on? Let me see if I can darken this a little bit real quick. Like he just looks so cool with that helmet on. Once you start posing him around, he just looks so cool. One grab out of the box, his head is just extremely loose. Again, that's just figure per figure. That's not a whole thing on the whole, all the figures of him himself. It's just mine possibly was loose. His armor does move up and down a little bit, but again, that's a nitpick thing. And I guess same thing, nitpicking would be the head being loose, but a lot of people don't like that when it comes straight out of the box. So for me, it wasn't a big deal. It was my first figure. I don't really have too much to compare it to. So now again, with his armor being pretty constrictive, I mean, I don't really do anything crazy with Theoden because he doesn't really move that much. His legs, again, they don't have the most articulation, most likely because of this. So I don't really move his legs. If anything, he's just kind of like walking out forward or something like that. He doesn't necessarily need the stand, but it came with a stand, so I'm gonna, keep the stand with it. Now, there's so many ways you could do this. You could have him just holding his sword. See if I can get that. And then I've had him, holding his helmet. If we switch that out. He's going to cock his shoulder back just a little bit. And then he's holding his helmet like so. I had it like this for a long time. Or even maybe facing this way. It's a really cool pose, and I like it. It's a very cool neutral kind of stadium pose. I did like that first pose that we did with his arm kind of going like that, and he's just looking at the camera. I think that was a really cool pose. Come on. There you go. But I've been really liking him with the helmet on. That's probably my favorite. Which reminds me of him Return of the King and that awesome speech that he has. And that's one of my favorite scenes of Theoden. So let's see if we can get his sword in his hand. And so again, when you put the sword in his hand, two ways you could do it. You could take his hand off and put it in. That's probably the best way. But when you're putting it with his hand attached, or either with the hand unattached, don't hold it by the blade. That's the someone had seen this when I first got it, and they were going like this, just like going like this. I'm like, oh my gosh, the sword was so bent. But hold it by the pommel or the handle, and they just get into the hand like that. So easy, so much quicker. Boom, the sword's in his hand. All right. Now, how I've had it, facing this way, you can have him, or kind of a neutral pose like this, or again, how we kind of had it before, like this, with the sword down at his side. Another cool one is if he's kind of like this way, and then we try to have him look like he's drawing the sword out of his scabbard. Let's see, we're going to put the sword just inside of the sheath a little bit, like so, and we'll have his other hand on the sheath like he's holding it in place. So we could probably put his hand around it a little bit too. We can get that around there, like so. We kind of have him like that. Alright, now we got him with a nice little background right there. So this is a pretty cool pose. I really like this one. But again, I think one of my favorites is just having him kind of like in a battle pose. One of my favorites is, I've had him like this for a long time. Just like this. It would be cool. I mean, it's really hard to give different face sculpts, and this is a pretty neutral face sculpt. But it's really cool kind of like in the picture how he has it. You can't really tell there, but you can tell like he's riding into battle kind of thing. And I'd really like to have a 6-scale horse with, you know, the horse that Theoden rides with it's the white horse with all that armor on it, very similar to his scale armor. That would be really awesome to have it like that. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the Theoden 6-scale figure by Asmus Collectibles. This thing is awesome. Again, tnsfigures.com. I'll put the link in the description. $170 shipped and with tax included. It's a great deal. If not, Asmus Collectibles also has it on their website, I believe. Still in stock. There's a lot more content coming out on this channel. Again, we are still building that diorama for the Marvel Legends figures. We'll be doing more collection type videos. I have a bunch of Diamond Select statues to do. I have more 6-scale figures like this guy. I have Faramir and Mouth of Sauron from Asmus. I have Luke Skywalker by Sideshow. I have Commander Cody by Hot Toys. And then I have Age of Ultron Captain America by Hot Toys. T'Chaka from Black Panther by Hot Toys. And I have the Neon Tech Iron Man 2.0 from Hot Toys as well. So I need to review all those. So they'll be coming soon. And there's also Call of Duty videos coming as well. So stay tuned. Please subscribe. Hope you guys are doing well. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Peace out.